And this one here is making smartphones. And you can see now they are separating each of the products. Very high QC here. Whereas this one here, there's no separation. Look at that. That is rubbish. I can't believe that. All right? But that is normal. I see that in a lot of factories. Separation. The one at the bottom is making the high-end smartphones. The one at the top, well, yes. Okay? Right? So, this is where all of you, as a business student, you may have an opportunity to visit factories one day. You can all help. The factories of the developing world need your help. Because on average, they're wasting 20% of the resources. We all talk about sustainability. You know the sustainability? Sustainability begins here. Okay? Because there's waste, a lot of waste here. All right, enough of that. Or you can talk about hard disk drives very quickly. You know what hard disk drives are? Okay? All right, that one there, they're rubbish. Okay? They both don't work anymore. Not because I threw them down. All right? It's because they stopped working and they say, oh, it says at the back, void if you open. Void if you open. All right? I said, no, I'm not going to take it back for warranty. I want to find out what's inside, what's wrong. Okay? So this is a Seagate disk. Seagate. Right? But inside, Samsung. All right? They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. What's going on here? Okay? So I even made a video about this. It's on YouTube, where I put it on the desk, I've got a hammer and I just smashed it. All right? Pass it around. See for yourself. Okay? You, as a consumer, need to be aware of what factories do. Okay? All right? They say void if open. So you don't want to open it, right? If it does, stops working. But I don't care. I want to know what's inside because I love engineering stuff. All right? And so Samsung, look for yourself. All right? All right? Pass it around. Have a look. Okay? All right. Okay. I'm not here to rubbish anyone. I just want to show you that things aren't what they seem. Okay? All right? Be questioning. Be curious. Don't just accept what companies tell you. Okay? All right. Now, we're moving to the balanced scorecard. And so why do we want to move to the balanced scorecard? Well, because Chipset they found out who their customers is. They decided, oh, we need to build internal capabilities. You know, we need to get that operations right. But now we need to think about, okay, so some way that we can start to implement that strategy, not just operations, but we need to combine them together. We need to have some linkage that operations know that what changes they're making has an impact on why the customers are buying a product. And the balanced scorecard is a way of linking the customer to the people at the deep crevices of the organisation. Ah, wow. So, let's have a look. All right? Because traditionally you're studying accounting, is that right? Okay. But when you go for a job interview in, 12 months' time? 3 years' time? But you're in second year, right? 3 months' time? When's your job in 3 months' time? Is that right? You need to get ready. Okay? I'm serious. I tell the first years, all of you are going to fail if you don't do one thing. That is, put your hand up and ask questions in class. Start preparing yourself. Because you don't get a job based on, oh, here's my transcript. You get a job based on your personality, your curiosity, and your passion to learn. So start preparing now. Ask questions, put your hand up. Lecturers love that, don't worry, don't feel embarrassed about that. All right, balanced scorecard, financial, then customer, internal business, then learning and growth. Okay? Traditionally, financial accounting has focused on the top version, the financial. But the financial is backward looking. The financial only happens after you have made something and sold it, right? The financial is only after you have made a mistake, sold it, a customer complained, and you got bad profits, and the financial says you have bad profits. Too late. Financial cannot help you. It cannot save you. It cannot say that that soldering man in that operation is doing the soldering incorrectly. You're with me here. Financial doesn't tell you that. So the balanced scorecard is a way of trying to link back the financial down to the operations, all the way down to here and here. Because it's the operations here, it is the learning and growth area here, that where organisations can re-engineer, organisations can change, and organisations can renew. Renewal is critical. Renewal has to happen every day. How many of you know Amazon? I can't put your hand up. Everyone knows Amazon, right? I'm not saying it's good or bad, but one strategy of the CEO, Jeff Bezos, is every day is day one. What does that mean? Traditionally, companies have gone through their strategy and worked through every year thinking, oh, we did well last year, let's just keep on doing the same thing again and again and again, and we'll do the same thing this year. Then we'll do the same thing next year, and we won't change. Well, that's no longer going to happen. And Amazon has shown how we have a strategy is what we did last year is irrelevant. What we do today is relevant. What we do tomorrow has to be day one again. What we do in 2 days' time has to be day one again. Every day is day one. That's Amazon's key operational mission. Okay? So think about that. All right? The balanced scorecard is trying to get at that idea where you have control over these areas, you don't have control over the customer or financial. Some people think they have control over the customer. Let's just do a lot of advertising. So then we brainwash the customer, right? Okay? Well, that only works for a certain level, okay? And it's very expensive. Why don't you focus on making good products? Why don't you focus on looking after your employees? So you've got the triangle. So right on the side here, just put making good products or providing good service. And here, looking after the employees. Just to give you a feeling of what do these two areas, what is the essence of those two areas? Making good products and services, looking after employees. Okay? Now, Pushpa was going to ask you next week, did O'Connor teach you anything? Nah, he just showed a bunch of videos and it just, wanted to show you how good he is, blah, blah, blah. Oh, great, okay, won't have him in again. All right, so, but here is one thing you can tell Pushpa next week, and that is the following, okay? That the balanced scorecard is about three things, SMS. Remember I told you earlier, right at the start, that I'm going to say three things, but those three things are not the learning objectives. Remember that? It was only an hour ago, some of you may have forgotten, don't you? Right, remember that? All right, SMS, all right? So you can tell Pushpa next week, O'Connor told us about SMS. What's he talking about? Is this kindergarten something? No, SMS. SMS, you know the text? You send text, right? SMS, right? Easy to remember, right? So the balanced scorecard is about strategy, and you know what strategy is. It's about measurement. Measurement, all right? Measurement. Okay? And systems thinking. Wow, the book doesn't tell us that. Well, the book doesn't always tell you the best ways to remember things, okay? And SMS is the best way, okay? And that is strategy, measurement, systems thinking. So what I'm going to do now in the next 10, 15 minutes is go through systems thinking and measurement. Now, the order is not measurement first and then systems thinking. I put it this way so you remember. It's a mnemonic. You'll remember this because every one of you know SMS, right? And so next week you tell Pushpa, O'Connor taught us about SMS. Really? Great. Okay? And you say, well, strategy, it's measurement, it's systems thinking. But when you go through chapter 12, the order is strategy, systems thinking, then measurement. All right? All right? But you won't remember that. You wouldn't remember SSM, right? So I'm just saying, SMS is a way for you to remember. Okay? So let's go through M and S, but we're going to start with S, systems thinking. All right? And this is another way of helping you remember, okay? So we've got SMS, okay? All right, strategy, measurement, and systems thinking. And then, why do we have the balanced scorecard? Well, you can read in chapter 12, it says the balanced scorecard is this. No, let's just keep it simple, all right? It helps to align the goals in the organisation, all right? Goal alignment means everyone's on the same page, everyone works together, everyone's going in the same direction. Okay, on-time decision making, we can make better decisions when we have more visibility of operations and employee readiness. Okay, financial don't help us. Financial don't help us. Customer complaints can help a little bit, but if we understand operations and employee readiness, then we can make better decisions. Accurate decision making and on time. These are two different dimensions of decision making and also learning. So 1, 2, 3 are the real benefits. And so that's why I call it SMS Gold. Okay? G-O-A-L. Gold! That's it. That's the balanced scorecard. It's not in chapter 12. It's a way of remembering key ideas for the scorecard. If you want to read chapter 12, then you've got something like this. Okay? So go back and read chapter 12, figure that out. Okay. So there are books on the balanced scorecard, and then there are books that talk about, they go out and ask organisations, do you use a balanced scorecard? Why do you use it? And then organisations will say, well, to help track progress, to help communicate, to help align. There's that goal alignment. You see that? Linking and aligning. Alignment again. Alignment, wow, and being able to measure people, all right? Measure people and strategy. So there are people out there, researchers that have tracked companies to find out, do they use a scorecard? What are the benefits? They've asked many, tons of companies, what are the benefits? Ability to measure performance, increased communication, alignment, there's that alignment word again, you with me? Okay, so here's data on what organisations have to say about the balanced scorecard. All right, back to chapter 12. In chapter 12, I forget which page it is. How are we going with that hard drive? Is it together or separate? Where's the it's in there somewhere. Okay, we found it. Okay, we love it. All right. We love CDAT, don't we? Sorry. Okay. All right. So we've got our Seagate's a big company in Singapore, so we don't want to support them. Right? But I've had 3 of them now fail on me, so I don't buy it anymore. All right. So we have example balanced scorecard. This is the chipset. This is on one page in chapter 12. Am I right? It's there somewhere in chapter 12. All right. And so you open that page and you think, wow, how do we learn this? Okay, we're not asking you to memorise. I just want to draw some ideas that you can start to think about. On the next page, what I have done is broken this down into bigger words and pictures. So for example, the customer perspective, which is at the top of that big table in chapter 12, talks about, these objectives are, maybe we want to increase market share, maybe we want to increase customer satisfaction, all right? And so one way is we need to start measuring what is the market share. We need to know where we are if we want to increase it, because then we need to know, are we increasing? All right, and the number of new customers. Here are initiatives. These are operational things that we might try to do. Okay? And so we can apply this to Monash. Maybe we want to increase student market share for business school in Malaysia. Okay? And so we want to increase student satisfaction. Okay? Don't underestimate that this can apply to end products or services. And so we need to have some initiatives for increasing market share. And so School of Business and other admin people have come to me and asking me to go out and talk to different events. or they're asking me for ideas. Got some initiatives that we can present to students. I had some people in my office earlier this week, some media people and outside liaison people talk to me about, accounting. What should we tell the parents about accounting? They asked me this, how can we market to parents? I said, that's easy. It's about the brand. It's about BDO and KPMG and Deloitte and PwC and Bain & Co. and McKinsey and Boston Consulting Group. Start talking brand, okay? And then parents get that, all right? You don't need to talk about operational things. The accountants, they work in the back office. They do all the financials, they do consolidation, and they do auditing. It's very exciting. You should get your kid to do accounting. All right? All right? So that is a conversation in my office earlier this week. All right? So in some ways, that's a strategy, right? That's some way, okay, what initiatives do we need to take to communicate better to the students and parents and things like that. Okay? So don't underestimate, the balanced scorecard is not just a manufacturing idea, it's for services too. And so we go to internal business processes. Maybe we want to increase quality. Okay? Maybe you want to reduce delivery time. And so notice one of the initiatives may be to re-engineer order delivery process. So what do we mean by re-engineer? Well, you can cross that out and put change, improve, okay? Let's not overcomplicate what we mean by re-engineering, okay? It's about change, it's about making improvements, okay? There's radical re-engineering and there's simple re-engineering, okay? And then we can have initiatives to improve manufacturing capability, well-organised research and development, manufacturing teams implement advanced controls. So maybe we have in Monash, the business school is doing teaching, right? And so we want an objective maybe to improve teaching quality and productivity, improving the way that accounting is delivered to you. Okay. So we've got to have initiatives, right? So one initiative I've started this year is doing a balanced scorecard, because remember, part of the balanced scorecard is we have an objective, we have a measure, and then we have an initiative. So one initiative, I said to all finance teachers, every one of you must have a fintech component in teaching finance. Put your hand up if you think that's a good idea. Only some of you. What's going on? No, so why would I do that? Because when I talk to industry players, so I talk to the big four and I talk to the consulting companies, they want to see fintech on the transcript. They don't want to hear you just talk about, I know fintech. You didn't study it. Yeah, but I know fintech. I did some online courses, but it's not on your Monash transcript. You with me here? See the problem? All right? So I said earlier this year, we need to have a fintech course. As soon as possible. This year! So within 2 weeks, we had a course designed. And so it goes through, this was in January this year. And so it's gone through, it's been approved here. It's gone to Melbourne. Then Melbourne's sort of delayed it. And it won't be rolled out until 2020. Out of my control. But this, we've got to keep pushing initiatives, because you students deserve nothing less, okay? All right, again, that's what we mean by initiatives. Initiatives is operational. Initiative is operational. What are we going to do? Okay? Whereas here is, this is what we want to achieve, and this is how we measure it, but this is, what are you going to do? And then there's some measurement here, okay? Some targets, all right? Because we want to know, are we achieving this target? Okay, so that's that table on chapter 12 that I've just showed you, what those different columns mean. Okay, now here is one thing that chapter 12 is a little bit light on, but I think is most critical to the balanced scorecard. Remember, what are the 3 parts of the balanced scorecard? What are they? What are they? SMS, right? So strategy, management, right? And systems thinking, right? Okay, systems thinking. So what is systems thinking is about? Okay, I don't use too much of your imagination, but I remember when I was a kid and I grew up in Australia, when we had a shower, we had a hot tap and we had a cold tap. Like these days, you just dial in the temperature and 42 or whatever, and then it just comes out. You don't have to test it, right? But in the old days, or in some houses still today, we had a hot and cold. And so the number one rule was, when I was a kid, is never get into the shower before you test the water. You know what I mean, right? It could be freezing cold or freezing hot. Okay, so because that is a system, right? So you turn on the hot, and then you put too hot, right? So you turn the cold. Just right. Okay, so you've got three things going on. Number one, you're taking an action. Okay. Then number two, you are testing the temperature, a result of that action. Then number three, you're comparing what you feel with what your standard is. You with me here? All right? So action, and then detection, and then the comparison with a standard. Really? Is that all a system? That's a system. Action, all right? Action, and then we are detecting, all right? Detect, and then we are comparing. Wow. Is that what systems thinking is? That's very simple, what we've got to think about, okay? So that's kind of like a cybernetic mechanism, okay? Meaning that it's a closed loop system, all right? Action, detect, compare. Action, detect, compare, okay? So I can give you mathematical jargon for this, but imagine in the shower is the best way of thinking what a system is like. Because we always test the water before we have a shower. Okay. All right. How many of you know this person? Hands up. Okay, I love that. Good. Okay. So what did he say? Creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel a little guilty because they didn't really do it. They just saw something that seemed obvious at the time. So what is Steve Jobs trying to say? He's really saying is that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only look back and think, that's how I got to here. Okay? You can have a plan looking forward, but plans don't always work out. Okay? And so why I'm showing you this quote is that one way of trying to figure out the likelihood that your future plan can work out is to, if you can understand the system better. Let me repeat. When we look back where you were 10 years ago to where you are today, you can see the system of dots where you came. The system is clear. You saw where you got to. You worked hard, you studied hard, and you got the result. Then you moved to secondary. You studied hard, got the result. Then you got an offer in Monash, and now you're here. All right? You look back and think, study hard, exam, boom. Study hard, exam, boom, right? So that's the system, right? Now we go forward, you're in another system. Now you're going for job interviews. How many of you know about that? Maybe not many of you. It's a different system. You with me here? Hello, you with me here? All right? And so, when you are working with systems, you need to be very careful. Are you familiar with that system or not? Many of you are not familiar with the job interview system, and that's where you need to start preparing. You are familiar with the study exam result system. You're with me here, all right? All right? And because you see it works. Right? You're looking forward, you keep doing the same thing. But now you're going to move into a different system. That is systems thinking. Every organisation has a system of how they recruit employees, they motivate them, come on, we've got to go out and get these customers, especially insurance, right? I used to sell insurance. I sold insurance for 2 years, and I never sold one policy. True story, right? So that was after I got fired at a petrol depot when I was 17. I was there for 18 months. I got fired for spilling petrol. if I had not have spilled petrol on that day, I could have been there today. I could have been the superintendent. Isn't it amazing how bad things happen turn into good things in the future? All right, systems in the past, you look back, but looking forward, systems could be the same or they can change. So be careful about that, all right? So we're going to apply the system to the organisation. Here is a system. I want you now, this is an exercise for you to do, something to do now, right? Okay? Remember SMS, we've already done the strategy, we're doing systems now, systems thinking. Okay, so now what you have to do is now I want you to tell me if there is a system in this restaurant. Maybe you can call this Papa Rich restaurant, or maybe Old Town Coffee. Or have you got a better one? Any favourite? Or Yan Kaya Toast from Singapore, right? Yeah. Right? You've all got your favourite, right? Just think about that. So maybe there are the system for making and having a good restaurant, maybe a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I want you to do is tell me, okay, what is the sequence of those 6 areas? I'll give you 1 minute. More important than the other, but what has to happen first and second and third? Like, shareholder value comes last, right? All right? Making profits, like profitability. I'll give you a hint. That comes last. Okay? Making money comes last. Accounting is last. That's why accounting does not help you to re-engineer. Accounting does not help you to start at day 1 again. What you need to do is go back and figure out what is that system. Okay, so hands up for, who would like to yell out some selection and staffing? Hands up, you want first, okay? All right, so after you select, then what do we do next? Employee satisfaction, number 2, okay? So if you have satisfied employees, then what's that going to lead to? Employee added value, number 3. And if you have employee added value, what's that going to lead to? Which one? Customer buying behaviour. And if we have that, then what's that going to lead to? Satisfaction. And then what's that going to lead to? And then what's it going to lead to? Here. Okay, so that's a system, right? In other words, a system is like a sequence of steps. Remember, in a shower, you turn the water, then the water comes out, and then you check the temperature, you take action again. You're with me here, right? So every one of these could be like a shower system in itself. Like selection and staffing goes to employee satisfaction, and maybe that rotates back again to selection and staffing. Maybe you selected the wrong person. You're with me here. All right? And so that's a system on its own. Then you go to employee added value and satisfaction. There's a system there. You with me? And then leading to customer behaviour. There's employee added value in this. There's a system. You're with me here. So this sequence of steps are all systems. And here's what you need to know. I just want to show you something very, very simple. Here's what you need to know. The organisation who can create visibility on their systems is more likely to understand where the problem areas are. And if they know where the problem areas are, guess what they can do? They can fix them. You with me? All right? Because often, most organisations, when do they find out there's a problem area? When a customer does what? Complains. Yeah. So the student comes down to my office. Oh yeah, come in. Yeah. So what's wrong? Oh, this teacher, really bad. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. So it's too late. It's too late. All right. I don't want. That's the final. You know what I mean? I want to go back and make. And maybe that's just a one incident. Okay. And so maybe we work with the teacher, and we want the teacher to maybe the teacher's under pressure of doing research and different things like that, and they didn't pay enough attention, and so then we need to think about, are our training systems in place? Have we selected the right teachers? You with me here, okay? All right? So it's a system that helps me to go back, and it's not about just satisfying that one complaint, it's about going back, oh, did our system break down? You with me here? All right? That's what's going in my mind. What happened to our system? Is there something wrong that needs to be fixed? Is there some way how we recruit, how we train our staff? You with me here, right? So that's why understanding the system is very important. Okay? All right? And so there's a system there. Okay, let's keep moving. All right? And so then you can put that down, and guess what? Now, if we have the system in place, like selection, satisfaction, added value, customer satisfaction, buying behaviour, guess what we can do then? What can we do once we know that this is our system? What can we do? We can? What can we do? We can do measurement, yes! The exciting part, all right? But the big mistake that a lot of organisations do is, oh, we've got to have measures. We're just going to measure things, okay? No. We need to understand what are the sequence, what causes what first. Then we can start to think about, if this is our system, then we can think about measures that go with every part of the system. In other words, all of us has a spine that holds us up, right? This, right? All right? The spine is holding me up with muscles, right? Okay? But so the spine is the system. The spine is holding me up. Okay? But a lot of organisations, they just want to put a heap of muscles together and say, oh, we're measuring now. Okay? But you need that system. All right? You need to figure out the system first, then measurement second. Measure's easy. The reason why organisations have a lot of problems with figuring out measurement is they haven't figured out what comes first and second and third and fourth. Wow. So we're having a staff retreat at the end of this month. Okay? Part of our system, right? Staff retreat. And so we're going to have some bonding together with the accounting finance staff. And so we've got to go through, what are the needs and are their needs being met? Are the staff happy? Is there ways that we can help the staff to feel happier, right? And then we know that if they're happier in many ways, that then they'll teach better. Okay? All right? So, we cannot just say to staff, oh, your SATU scores now have to be all over 4. Otherwise we fire you. You're with me here, right? So that's what we call not paying attention to the system. All right? But that doesn't help the organisation sustain a good teaching value for the students. Okay? All right? We need to go back and think, okay, how do the staff get prepared to teach well? What can we do to help them better prepare? Is there training we need to do? And things like that. All right? And then that's a system that leads to, then they get high SATU scores. Are you with me here? All right? So systems are critical. Yes, we can measure SATU scores. We can measure teaching. Okay? We can measure your satisfaction. But sometimes that's too late. It's too late for you. You're with me here. The course is over. The unit's over. It's gone. And you had a bad teaching experience. It's too late. Like we could say, oh, you come back next year, we'll give you a better experience. No, you moved on. All right? So we can't do that. So, all right? So there are measures that we use. Measures, right? Right? But a lot of measures are too late. For you. You with me? They will help us in the future, but they're too late for you. All right? So that's why we need to start. We need to know, how satisfied are the staff? How ready are the staff in their various areas of teaching? Did you know we have a competition in our department at the moment where we started an online, Hong Kong U have the first online fintech course in Asia. Did you know that? Right. So it's free, you can do it. All of you should do it. You should do that. I did it myself. I got 91 in the multiple choice. Like all of you get 100, all right? I was watching it, I was in the shower, I was cooking meals, doing the dishes, whatever, I was watching it on the side. I got 91. So I said to my staff, anyone who gets more than 91, I will buy them lunch. And so then we have another staff member. Do you know YB Fu YB? You're doing financial accounting. Yeah? Okay? So she gets 93. Alright? So suddenly, the staff get excited now. And now, Eugene, do you know Eugene? Yeah. Alright, lovely guy. Alright? So now he's doing it now. And so I buy YB lunch, or I could buy a UT lunch. But this is how we sort of create some excitement in the organisation. So then when they come into the classroom, they're excited to share with you, especially on latest innovations, because we want staff to know about FinTech, because you have to know about FinTech. We can't have staff that are 10 years behind what you need to know for your job interview. Right? Again, system, it's a system, all right? It's a system, but we need to capture, we need to measure different parts. Okay, so we go back to chapter 12, wrapping this up. Chapter 12, that's the balance scorecard for chipset. And so there's a whole page for that, right? The whole page. And so what chapter 12 is explaining that, yes, it would be nice to grow operating income, but how we do it is we need to increase market share. Well, how do we do that? We need to focus on customer satisfaction. How do we do that? Reduce delivery time, meet delivery dates. All right, improve manufacturing quality and productivity. Improve. You see here. So this is a system of how we get to the accounting number. Okay. So this is what we call a strategy map. Okay. So in the first semester, please forgive me for going backwards and forwards with chapter 12 and my sharing. All right. Are you okay with that? Okay. All right. So in first semester. So I was joint teaching, and so I said to my joint teacher, I want all the students to go out for their major project, they have to interview a business. And my co-instructor said, maybe too much. If you do, you need to go with all of the students. And I thought about it. No, the students don't need hand-holding. They can do it themselves. And so we had 29 groups. About 5 students each. Like, it was a big number. They all had to go to a local business in the area. They couldn't double up, no internet stuff, right? And they had to interview the business, and the project was 4 pages, right? And it was a strategy, basically on chapter 12, strategy, and they had to show a strategy map, and they had to talk about certain measures that they could use. And they were all successful, all the students. I think the lowest mark was 7.5, 75 out of the 20 marks. So 75%, 15 out of 20, the highest was about 19.5. All the students were happy. But most importantly, they all got to meet a real business and talk to a real business person. And that's what we're doing. So we're going to do that next year. First semester with Pushpa, I'll be teaching with that. That's what we're doing. But this year it was a bit too much to push you into it straight away. So, and they had to do a strategy map like this. Okay, so, and that's what we did, and that's what we're, different initiatives. Finally, measurement. So, what do we mean by measurement? Well, these are different, and we're finishing up with measurement. Why? Because this is the last thing we want to do. All of you are accountants. You are taught to measure things. You are measuring the economic reality of the organisation. So all of you know what it means by, let's have a look, growth, earnings, free cash flow. You all know that measure, right? You're all familiar with that, okay? But few of you may be familiar with other types of measures. But this is the only way that an organisation can get visibility on its system. So there is a YouTube video I provide in that Monash playlist. If there's only one you watch, there's one called Why, W-H-Y, W-H-Y, okay, why, in other words. And it's all about the system. If you can understand the system, then you can measure it, create visibility, and react to it faster. Okay? And at the end of the day, if there's two organisations that gets measures on their system, one gets accounting measures, so it gets its accounting measures maybe at the end of each month, right? Monthly closing. All organisations around the world, they usually do monthly closing. Okay? That's when you know how much did you make, what are the expenditure. You with me here, right? Okay, yes, all right. But what organisations can do now, or some of the leading organisations, what they do is they've got information every day of what sales have come in and expenditure. That's a report every day. Which organisation, if they're competing head to head, which one is going to win over time? Which one's going to win? The one that gets feedback every month, or the one that gets feedback 30 times a month? The one that gets 30 times, because then they can react faster, faster, faster. That's all we're doing. That's the only reason why you have a balanced scorecard. It's why we think about the system. It's why we measure things. Because accounting is too late. It's too late. Customer's gone. Gone. Right? You've got to react when you get information down here. All right? So the information that you measure, if you measure, so we talk about new hires, education, work experience, this satisfaction here, we get information here, feedback every day. We get feedback every week on this. And we can find out very, very quickly before a customer gets starts complaining. You with me here? Your idea, right? Too late. It's too late when a student knocks on my door and complains. All right? I want teachers to be passionate, empowered, up to date, and to really want to help you. Okay? All right? And so that's why I really want to know my staff. I want to know that the staff are excited. Pushpa, amazing. She's got so much energy. And that's what I want to see. I want to see the energy in the staff. If they've got energy, then you can get energy, and that's what your experience is all about. Otherwise, you can just go online and learn everything. Are you with me here? All right? It's about energy transfer when we come into the lecture theatre. Okay? So you're not only learning, but you're energized. You are excited about what you're learning. And that's half the battle. When you go on a job interview, that's what it is. Okay? So let's finish up what I covered today. And apologies for the second half, not too many videos, but I just wanted to share with you some of the exciting things that we're trying to do in the department. Strategy, re-engineering the balanced scorecard. We Pushpa has decided we're not covering learning objective 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so that's because she's in charge of the exam, so you need to follow her lead on that. So when we were talking about what I taught, when we talked about me coming and giving a lecture, the first thing I said to Pushpa is, what learning objectives do you want the students to go away with? Okay? I just want to know, what are the learning objectives? Okay, then that become my goal and my approach today. Okay, so strategy, you've got a pretty good idea on that. Engineering, balanced scorecard. This takes some time, but SMS, strategy, systems, and measuring. Okay. Chapter 12 focus on the strategy and measures. It's a bit light on the system. So the big takeaway from that this second half is to think about it's the system that matters. The system that we want to get visibility on. Okay? The system that a staff is happy, they're energized, they come into the class, they're up to date, they get good teaching, they get good centred schools. Right? So a whole system of a lot of things line up together for you to feel as though you're getting good teaching experience. You with me here? It's a system, it's not the final score that counts. All right? And so chapter 12 doesn't talk about the system. Chapter 12 says, well, here's the strategy map. Here are the measures. What I want you to think about is, if anyone asks you tomorrow, Neil taught you about balanced scorecard. So where do we start with measurement? I said, that's easy. You've got to start with, what is the system? Once we know the system of cause and effect, then we can start to measure different parts of that system. Okay? System first, management second. Right? SMS. Okay? Thank you for your wonderful attention today. I wish you very well. And Pushbar's amazing. Her energy is amazing.